For me, a big part of my anxiety about childbirth was all the stuff I didn't know. And so sure, I took classes and read books, but I still felt like there was a lot of information that no one was telling me. And since after having a baby and attending many births, I've discovered that I was kind of right. There is some strange stuff that happens that not everyone is incredibly open and forward about. So I thought I would share some of the strange happenings that could potentially happen during childbirth and right after childbirth that will hopefully make you feel like you have the full picture, you're going in with eyes wide open, and hopefully you can have a bit less anxiety or fear about the experience. So I'm going to use my cheat sheet to make sure I don't miss anything. All right, so the first thing, time is distorted. And this can go one of two ways. For some women, it feels like time really slows down and like 2 minutes goes by in what felt like 30 minutes. And for some women, time flies and you really get into the zone. Hypnosis can help with this, guided meditation, closing your eyes, envisioning going within. This can really help time fly. And for some women, they have no sense of time at all. They're just fully focused on getting through each contraction and they don't even want to know what time it is. So I really recommend that if you're going to be in a hospital or really any room that has a clock somewhere in the room, I really encourage covering it up so you're not aware of how much time has passed, especially if you're someone who has the experience of time slowing down. That can be really discouraging, so go ahead and cover up that clock. All right, the next one, you kind of get amnesia. And this somewhat serves a purpose because childbirth can be pretty painful. The reason why we're able to have more than one baby is because a lot of us somewhat forget what exactly childbirth felt like, so that's kind of a good thing. But even in the moment, we again are so wrapped up in what's happening second by second. We're so present because really we have to be, that again, we forget a lot of the experience. Like for example, I had no idea what the nurses who were with me for like 9 hours on and off during my birth, no idea what they looked like until I looked back at the photos and videos. And so that's one reason why taking, some photos and videos can be really cool, because it can spark your memory about different parts of the experience. All right, your modesty totally disappears. Some women, they're like, yeah, I already am not very modest, whatever. But some women, the women that are in a locker room, for example, and don't want to have other people see them naked, they think, oh no, I'm gonna hold on to my modesty during childbirth. I can almost guarantee that when you were moving through those surges and you were full on in deep, active labor, you're not gonna care who sees you naked. You're not gonna be aware of the fluids coming out of you. A lot of women are worried about pooping during birth. Even if you do, and not all women do, but even if you do, you're not gonna know. And midwives, nurses, they are so good at immediately wiping it up, throwing it away. They don't tell you if you poop or not. Anybody that knows anything that's around you, supporting you, they're not gonna say, hey, you just pooped. So don't worry about that, and just get ready again for all modesty to fly out the window. If you are going to breastfeed, this often carries well on into the breastfeeding year or years, as you just get really used to people seeing your boobs. All right, next one. So you feel like you dropped into an entirely new world after your baby is put in your arms. And in so many ways you did. Your world, your partner's world, if you have one, is changed forever. And I'm not trying to say that every piece of yourself will change. You're still you, but you see everything around you differently. And this can be a really good and beautiful thing. All of these trapdoors of love open within you. You love this child so much. Or maybe you feel that sense of, I'm holding a stranger. Maybe I don't feel as much love as I thought I was going to. I mean, there can be so much confusion going on. Again, it's all so new. So I really recommend with this part, regardless of how you're feeling, to just be really gentle with yourself and to realize that you will settle into this new world. It will become your new normal, and to not panic. And again, just be really, really gentle with yourself as you enter this new realm. Okay. So get ready for your baby to be covered in vernix. Vernix is really good. It helped to protect baby's skin, nourish them when they're in the womb. It has antibacterial properties, so it's kind of nice actually, even though it looks kind of gross. It looks like waxy cottage cheese covering your baby's skin. To not wipe it off right away if you can help it. Not a big deal if you do, but if you just kind of rub it into baby's skin, it's really great for them. But don't expect this perfect little clean baby to come out of your vagina. They're going to be covered in a lot of fluids, and it's okay. That's the way it's supposed to happen. And another thing is sometimes right when baby's coming out, their coloring can be really shocking. Maybe they're super bright red or purple or almost blue, and this can make a lot of parents panic. But don't panic, stay calm. They've just been through a really tight passageway, and so their color might be a little bit off, but it will quickly settle back down to a normal color, so don't panic. Okay, so if you deliver your baby vaginally, it's very likely that they're going to have a somewhat weird shaped head when they come out, especially if you spent a lot of time pushing and the top of their head was in a pretty tight space. They might have a bit of a cone head. Don't worry, their head's not going to be like that for the rest of their life. It'll settle back into a nice round shape, but again, their head might look a little bit alien-like. All right, the next strange thing is seeing your placenta. For me, this was equal parts disgusting and fascinating. I mean, this is an organ that you grew essentially from scratch, and it is what supported and nourished your baby the last 9 months. So it's really incredible. So while you might think, no, I don't want to see the placenta, just get rid of it or give it to the midwife who's going to encapsulate it, I don't want to look at it, I really encourage taking a look at it, or at least having somebody take a picture so you can check it out later, because it's really cool in a really strange, gross way. Next one, meconium. This is the term for baby's first poop, or their first few poops. It looks like tar and it smells like nothing. So when this black sticky substance comes out of your baby's butt, it's all good. That's what's supposed to happen. And sometimes babies have a bowel movement in the womb, and this isn't necessarily an emergency situation, but if the doctor or the midwife sees some meconium coming out of you when you're in delivery, if you're in the hospital, they'll have the NICU team come in and be there and to check out baby, just in case they've aspirated some of the meconium and just need a little bit of help. So don't panic if that happens. But if you're not at the birth center, or your midwife isn't there yet, or you're not at the hospital, go ahead and let your care provider know if a substance that is maybe green or yellow comes out of you, because this could be a sign that, again, baby had a bowel movement. But don't be alarmed, just let somebody know. All right, and the next one, there will be blood, quite a lot of blood, especially right after baby is born. And you can expect some bleeding for about 4 to 6 weeks after giving birth. And one thing to look out for, especially around a day or so after having the baby, is if you're quickly soaking through the giant pads that you're going to be given. If you're soaking through those pretty quickly, definitely let your doctor know. But there will be quite a bit of blood. Again, you're going to need those big pads, and you should expect to see blood on them.
You will also possibly see some blood clots, some that might be pretty big. If it's the size of a golf ball or bigger, let your doctor know. And of course, even though bleeding is normal postpartum, if it worries you or you're concerned about everything, always err on the side of caution and go ahead and check in with your care provider. But know that you can expect blood. Okay, your hair falls out, yay! But don't panic. When you're pregnant, because of the shift in hormones, you don't lose the hair that you normally lose throughout a day. And so after we have another shift in hormones after baby is born, that hair that would have normally been shed during the 9 months when you were pregnant starts falling out. And this can be pretty alarming because it sometimes comes out in clumps and your shower drain is clogged. It can be really freaky, but don't worry. After it's done, you'll just be back to your pre-pregnancy thickness. Okay, and finally, it's going to look like you have breast implants when your milk comes in. This is called engorgement. Your boobs get really big, really hard, and it can be really uncomfortable, but that will not happen the entire time you're breastfeeding. Again, it happens right when your milk comes in, and if it's uncomfortable, you can go ahead and put a warm compress on each breast. You can self-express some milk. Sometimes an engorged breast, it's hard for the baby to latch onto, so if you just kind of press on the breast around the nipple, that should let out a bit of milk, make the breast a little bit softer so baby can latch on, and of course, as they drain the breast, it'll become softer. This might happen a few times as your body and your baby get into a rhythm with breastfeeding. And it's really amazing. Your body does get to know your baby's patterns and when to produce milk. It's this like magical syncing up that happens, but just have patience with your body as you work through that. I think that's about it. If there are other, strange phenomenon that you experienced during childbirth or after, go ahead and leave it in the comments below.